This spring I've been riding with more confidence, more commitment, and hopefully with more speed than ever before. And you know what? It's down to one thing. For as long as I can remember, I've been running 780mm handlebars. I've tested and ridden literally dozens and dozens of bikes in the last 8 years, testing them for Mountain Biking UK and Wide Open Mag. And basically everything came with 780 or 800mm bars, and 780 was where I needed to be. In fact, I remember writing early reviews for MB UK about probably 6-7 years ago, and if a bike came with narrower bars than 780, I was marking it down. And you know what? I stand by that. It was justified because the geometry and the whole setup of the bike meant that you really felt like you needed that bit of extra leverage, I felt, to give you control over the bike, so it wasn't skittery, so it was stable, so you could really ride it hard. Luckily, things have changed. Modern geometry on bikes like my Vitus Summit here means that the bike is inherently more capable and more stable, while still being a lot of fun, I would add. And then a little while ago, I was listening to Downtime podcast, as I do every week, and Jesse Melamed was on there, and there he is, one of the top EWS racers in the world, and not a massive guy, but he let the bomb drop that he was running 720 bars, which I thought were purely the reserve of cross-country whippets, okay? Flat, narrow, lightweight bars, okay? But there he is, he's racing the EWS on 720 bars. And even the likes of Richie Rude, big strapping young lad that he is, he's only running 740s, okay? And that makes me think, well, maybe something's changed here. Maybe I'm behind the curve. I need to do some experimenting. So that is exactly what I did. I went in the shed and I got an old set of alloy bars out, old set of cheap bars, and I went all in. I just banged them down to 740, okay? I'm 176 centimeters tall, just under 5'10", just for reference. So 740 is where I went right back in January, and I just said to myself, I'm just going to fully commit to this for a month, okay, and see where I'm at, because you're not going to tell the difference in one ride, and if I just nipped them in a little bit at a time, I wouldn't have noticed the difference. And straight away on that first ride, it felt weird, but I was like, oh, hang on, I am on the front of my bike here more than ever. And if I'm harsh on my skills as a rider, and what lets me down is the same as a lot of people, is I don't get on the front enough and I can creep back. When those bars came in narrower, I felt straight away, just naturally, without having to think about it, I was on the front wheel. I had more grip, I had more confidence, especially on the exit of a flat turn and things like that. Now then, I committed to it for a month, and whilst I felt I had more grip on the front, there were a few times with big landings and G-outs where I just felt I wasn't quite as strong in that position as I wanted to be. And I just felt like maybe 740 was a bit too narrow. So that's when I fully committed. These are my preferred handlebar. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. One Up Components, carbon bar. And they've got this flat section here, so you get a bit of compliance in them. Really nice bit of kit. And I whacked them down to 750 from where they were at 780. Went all in, and I've not looked back since. Honestly, I think that this winter, my riding, and this spring has taken a bigger step forward than it has in years and years. And it's down to like that much handlebar, which sounds crazy, but it's made all the difference. Every time I ride, I just feel like it's easier to be on the front wheel. It makes it easier for me to be strong, to be confident, and to ride the bike correctly. Now, as always, look, this has worked for me, yeah? And it works for me whether I'm in the slow, techie, nadgery stuff, or when I'm at Bike Park Wales, like doing 30 miles an hour down a blown out red, you know? It's just better for me everywhere, and I'm not going back. And I would suggest that for a lot of people, you know, coming, who've been riding a few years and maybe, you know, been through the whole wide bar thing, riding 800s or even wider for some people, is that I think a modern bike is going to let you come a bit narrower, and for a lot of people it's going to improve your riding position. And if you ride in like tight techie trails, like tight forests and things, then it can also help to make you more maneuverable and stop you banging your pinkies on the trees. Okay, so what I suggest is try it out. Okay, get the hacksaw out, don't be shy. I just use a hacksaw on my carbon bars, so I put tape, Gorilla Tape around the end, and then cut through the Gorilla Tape, and that way it prevents any fraying, and then I just like really gently file it off there. So that's it. It might sound crazy, the 30mm, 15 off each end can make such a difference, but it honestly has. Okay, so just have a look at your setup. Maybe it's bang on, okay, and that's cool. But you know what? If you've been riding a while and you've got a modern bike and you're running really big bars and you know you're not 6 foot, 6'2", whatever, then actually maybe you should give this a go. Get some old bars out of the shed, get the hacksaw out, be bold, make a big change, and then go back up a bit. Obviously you can't stick stuff back on the ends, but then hopefully maybe you got an extra set of bars at home or something. You can do that. So let me know how you get on anyway. I'd love to hear, and I hope you're having a really great spring out riding. Cheers.